Yeah, because I mean, I don't consider myself a snob. I don't know if you consider yourself a snob.
No, I definitely consider myself a snob.
So sometimes people, when you're super passionate about something, and people have tried to be like, well, you're kind of snobby. It's like, no, I'm just particular, and I really care about this, but I actually don't really judge other people so long as
Well, there's a very fine line between, snobbery aside, there's a very fine line between having a strong affinity for something and being pretentious.
Yeah.
So I think perhaps, they need to, read a dictionary and choose their words more wisely, which we all could do better at times.
Well, so speaking of being pretentious, I think a lot of the people that actually know and have studied the history of music or been involved in various industry ways, they become less pretentious because it's like the more you know you don't know that much at all.
Well, it's
like
a humbling experience.
Yeah, there's so much out there. Whereas some of the people that have the pretentiousness that gives even me a bad taste, they actually don't know that much about music, because if you have that knowledge, you're never trying to look down on other people. You're trying to share that knowledge with other people.
Well, absolutely. It's kind of like when you do a good batch of hallucinogen drugs or whatever, you have that ego death.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no different than coming across some really fucking cracking tunes and having music death and realizing, holy shit, I really don't know anything, which is really the best way to go through life. It's just, you don't know anything, don't know anything, be an open book.
Yeah, and when it's not a competition of oh, I know more than you and I'm going to look down on you or judge you, I mean, those are always the people that I get along the most with, where it's just like, oh, you don't know that, let me tell you about it, let me share it with you, and then it's a dialogue, and we're all evolving and growing, and it's a journey. Whereas there's people that are just so like narrow in their scope and focus, and they get this attitude that like I feel turns people off. Even in dance music, I feel like there's some people that are like, well, I don't like dance music or whatever, but we can connect the bridges between dance music and all other music.
Well, that's the thing. That's that music death, ego. I mean, that's all ego. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with having a strong affinity for something, but you need to be able to articulate it in such a way that it's not off-putting to people. And we all make mistakes. Maybe I didn't explain something a certain way and it completely put a bad taste in someone's mouth, but you got to be the bigger person and be like, oh, that's me, that's my fault for making this person feel this way, and you got to own that shit. And that's a great segue on what junk is and how junk came about. Living in Brooklyn.